All right, I think we're live. I just skated in here by the seat of my pants. Bible study wrapped up, and there was always a few people stand around want to talk afterwards, and I always try to make myself available to stand around and visit. And anyways, we ran down to Freddy's and got a burger and some fries, and I had another couple from church went with us. So we got down there, and my wife walks in and goes, "I've got a flat." And I was like, "Pancake flat?" And she's like, "It's flat." So I go out there and we ate. And I'm like, "There's no way I'm starting this at 9 o'clock, you know?" So I go out there and I look, it's pretty low, but it's not like pancake flat. So I said, "I think you can drive this around the block and to the light and down under the interstate and to the Shell station." So anyways, I drove down there with her, aired up her tire, got it aired up. I said, "That ought to be enough to get you home." That saved me from having to change a flat in a parking lot at Freddy's Burgers. So anyways, I just rolled in here, hit go live just in time, right at 9 o'clock. I haven't even really kind of collected my thoughts yet. Got a couple of guys. If you hear, just you might want to put over in the side chat who you are. Let me know where you're from. Also, if you got a question, I always try to answer questions. One of the things I like about doing a live chat is that I get to visit with you guys, and it's good to kind of get you to know what you're thinking about, or maybe something in a video I didn't cover well. But so while some of you are thinking about a good question or a smart remark or telling us where you're from, I'll tell you a story. And this story is by request. And this is one of my favorite stories. So this would have been back like in around 93, probably. I was right out of high school, 93. Me and my buddy Ryan, if you have seen the live scoping for crappie, that's me and Ryan there. Ryan and I have been friends for a long time. He was the best man at my wedding. But back before I was married, right out of high school, this is a good story. Y'all got to hear this one. You remember the boom box? You remember the ghetto blaster? I had one of them, like 2 cassette tapes, speakers on each end, handle across the top. You could put it on your shoulder, and something like Run DMC would carry around in the 80s, except not that big, and on my budget. Anyways, I had one of those big ghetto blaster boom boxes, and I had 2 cassette tapes. One of them was Dying Rabbit by Johnny Stewart, and the other one was Crow and Owl Fight, also by Johnny Stewart. So me and Ryan and this other buddy, Kale, we all went on a crow hunt. Crow, coyote, anything that moved hunt. And we killed a few crows. Anyways, we had went to this piece of land over by a buddy of mine. He owned it. We walked in the back of there and we called. I don't really think we killed anything there. Matter of fact, I think we hadn't killed anything at the last setup. And so we was all kind of getting itchy trigger fingers. And I was walking out. We was all carrying shotguns. I think Kale or somebody had the boom box, and not me. And I looked down on the ground, and laying on the ground was a coyote turd about that long, about 4 or 5 inches long. And it was about that big around. And it, when a dog turd sits out on a dry spot for a long time, it just turns like bone white. Well, we were just walking. It'd been cleared. And, they dozed all the stumps and stuff up and rows to burn. It was cleared. There was nothing really growing. And I just looked down as I was walking, and there was this gigantic coyote turd. I mean, it was like that long. It was like that big around, and it was just as white as chalk. And I thought, man, it'd be funny if I grabbed that old white coyote turd and just threw it out in front of us and shot it. And I picked it up, and I said, "Look, watch this." And everybody kind of stopped, and I showed them this big old coyote turd. I had my shotgun by the pump, and I had 870. I grabbed that coyote turd, and I didn't pitch it underhanded like and throw it up. I just threw it straight out in front of us as hard as I could. And that coyote turd was going out, and I threw that shotgun up, and I dropped down on it, and it was like 2 worlds collided, right? The turd was falling, the shotgun bead. Just as soon as they crossed, I pulled the trigger. That thing probably wasn't 15 foot from the end of my barrel when I pulled the trigger, and I had number 6s in there, high brass, right? I hit that coyote turd. My pattern couldn't have been any bigger than that. I hit the coyote turd full force, and poof. There wasn't a piece of it that like went over this way. It was like, you ever seen like weightlifters when they clap their hands and all the chalk flies off? There was a chalk cloud about 1.5 feet across where that coyote turd was when my pattern hit it. And it just wafted. There was like no wind. It was like when you blow a smoke ring. You know, it wasn't a smoke ring. It was just a cloud, and it sat there. And we all looked at each other like, I would never do that again. So then we began walking around looking for more coyote turds. Of course, we never found any more. I never duplicated that shot. But Ryan said, you need to tell the coyote turd story. And that was probably the best shot I ever made. I'll tell you one on Ryan. Now, one time Ryan and I went duck hunting. And we was coming back from, I don't remember what happened. Anyway, somehow we end up killing a bunch of like sparrows or something. Not a bunch, maybe 1 or 2 sparrows for some unknown reason. I don't remember how we got the sparrow. Maybe it was dead in the trail. I don't know. Ryan laid the sparrow. If you're under 18 and you don't have any common sense, don't listen to this. Don't repeat this story, and kids, don't try this at home. Ryan laid the sparrow on the end of his shotgun. It's loaded with duck loads, right? I don't know if they're 2 3/4 or 3, but we're talking about high brass steel, right? And we got a little old, snowbird. They ain't much bigger than the end of the barrel. So it's just sitting there with its little feet up in the air, right? And he goes, what do you think's going to happen to it? I'm like, it's going to explode. When he pulled the trigger, the bird wasn't like stuffed in there. It was just sitting on the barrel. When he pulled the trigger, it exploded. Something hit me right in the mouth. I felt it just go pow, and it fell down, and I felt it hit my waders because, you got your duck waders on. And I was like, something hit me in the mouth. And he's like, yeah, you got a little blood on your lip. Well, it wasn't my lip bleeding. It was bird blood. I looked down, and the only identifiable thing off that bird that we could find was its top beak. Its top beak had come loose and hit me in the lip and fell down on the top of my waders. So anyways, there's you a couple of shotgun stories, Ryan and the preacher back in the days. All right. You got any questions or comments, or is it just going to be storytelling? Let me give you a rundown of who all's here. If you want to be listed, put your name down. We got Jag 1, 6-shooter Texan, Wayne Jewell, Will Matheson, 6-shooter Texan again, Chris 338, Bolt Action Reloading, Georgia Boy 44, Blue Healer 260, Cranky Cletus is here, Ozark Spirit is here, Southern Food Junkie, Kyle Lusk. All right. CW Longshot. All right. Thank you guys for showing up. Now's your chance. If you got questions about something I've said or done, or you just want my wisdom, now's the time. I'll answer any decent question. Don't ask me some perverted question. I'm not going to answer that. Any decent question, I'll do my best to answer. Can you tell the size of the coyote from its turd? Well, that depends on how big of a butthole he's got. I don't really think so, but I would just think bigger coyotes eat more, crap more, probably have bigger poop. I don't know. I do know this. I was watching Roddy Piper. No, I think it was Jake the Snake Roberts. One of them, some former wrestler, was on Joe Rogan one time talking about Andre the Giant. And he said he was so big he couldn't crap in a motel bathroom, that he would just sit on the side of the shower and turn the water on and just take a dump right in the shower because his poop was so big. So I imagine if it was a big coyote, you'd have a big turd. I have a boom box for sale. They're probably in hot demand. All right, let's see any other questions. Let's see a sauerkraut taste test. Well, I'm in the office, and I have to do all my live streams from here because I don't have fast internet. I live out in the country. So I didn't bring any with me. I just did it tonight because I knew after Bible study we'd go eat and I'd come back here. Joe Leadslinger's here. Dan Crafton is here. Real American Hobbies channel is here. Will Rowell is here. Thank you guys for coming out. Floyd Hicks, thank you. Yeah, the coyote that you see behind me, that is a very large coyote. As a matter of fact, if you'll go to my YouTube channel and go over to the community section, I believe. Anyways, you can scroll down. It's where I make announcements. Like I announced earlier today, I was going to go live at 9. If you go there and scroll all the way down, there's a picture of me holding the coyote that's on my wall. And that's a picture of me the day I shot it. And you can get an idea of how big that coyote is. Local taxidermist mounted it, and then I built the rock and put underneath it. But I thought he did a very good job. That coyote was so large, we ended up buying a small wolf form because the body measured bigger than any coyote forms we could get, even northern coyotes. So we ordered a small wolf form and altered it to make it a little longer. And anyways, it's pretty unique. He did a lot of work on his very good mount. Brandon Mitchell did that, actually. All right, I want duck recipes. What's your cucumber? What do you put on your cucumber plants to grow best? Chicken manure is what I've been putting on them. And 2020, I start with a good soil with a bunch of rabbit pellets in it or organic matter, and then we actually took all the clean out of the chicken brooder and through the straw and the chicken manure, we scattered that around the garden. I burned up a couple onions. I got it a little too hot in places, but it really is making cucumbers now, Will. I want duck recipes. Best duck recipe I got is brown it on both sides real good, and then put it in a crock pot with cream of mushroom soup. Let it go till it's falling apart. Shred all the duck meat in the cream of mushroom soup. Then put it over rice. Simplest way. If you don't want to do that, cut it up in bite-sized chunks. Put a jalapeno in it. Wrap it in bacon on the grill. That's good too. I actually served that at a wild game dinner one time, and I did goose meat actually with jalapeno, Canadian goose with jalapeno wrapped in bacon, and they all swore it was beef. So, yep. All right, if you got a question, hit me up now. Does it still have its balls? You know, I never really got up in there and looked. I'll bet it's just got an empty sack. What's your favorite food plot for deer? I would say wintertime. It's hard to say. You know, I've planted about everything you could plant. Australian winter peas, ironclad cow peas, any of those pea shoots do good. I've even planted English peas. We got a bunch of those from a canning company, and they did real good. Peas work great just because they grow vines and leaves, and the deer not only eat the leaves, they eat the vines. But just to be honest with you, buck forage oats, ryegrass, they tend to stay green all winter. They tend to take a heavy browse. If you've got a lot of deer, I would do buck forage oats. You might plant something else to get the oats established. You know, let them eat the peas while the oats get up. But buck forage oats, deer tend to they just tend to seem to like it, and it's not that expensive. Okay, who else is joining? Uncle Jim's here. Anybody new? I think it looks like the same guys. Catch and cook. Yeah, I'd like to do some. I want to do some catfish is what I really, really want to do, but the river has been so high. And just about the time it gets back to normal, we get another big rain, the system moves through. But and now the catfish are fixing to go on, or some of them already are on the nest. The noodling's getting good. So maybe second half of the summer, end of July, I'll do a catfish catch and cook. I'll tell you one thing I did try that I'll never try again with duck. I tried some duck jerky and I tried some goose jerky. And if you get it dry enough to call it jerky, it tastes awful. So I know people, oh, I make great duck jerky. I'm sure you do. I just don't want any of it. The only duck I had was from a Chinese buffet. Yuck. Actually, the best duck I ever had was in a gourmet restaurant, and it was cooked I think that's called confit or something like that, duck confit. It's where they slow cook it in duck fat. And it was very, very good. Of course, that was farm raised duck. Uh, Rollis, I'm probably gonna butcher your name, but good evening from Birmingham. Thanks for coming by. Noodling video? No, I don't. I got buddies that noodle. I'm not the noodling guy. I went with them one time. I watched them, and that was all I needed to know about noodling. Ryan, my buddy that I shot the coyote turd with and fish with. Now Ryan's big on noodling, and the problem is when you go with those guys, you know, you got to hold the camera just right so nobody can tell where your spots are, and you're looking down at the water. And yeah, I just ain't into having fish bite me on the elbow and make my arm look like a candy cane. And I'm just not going to do it. My wife just let me know she made it home with her low tire that I aired up for her. So that's good. I was worried she's going to call me on the interstate and I was going to have to go change a tire. Catfish bite here was unreal. They're usually spawning now, but for some reason they're still biting like crazy. I think I could catch catfish right now, Ronnie. The only problem is the river's so high, and I can't. You know, we had that big flood last year. If you followed my channel, you probably saw some of the flood damage from last year's. That was like a 500-year flood or something. You know, it was the highest Arkansas river's ever been recorded, and it stayed up forever. And we had sand dunes. The roads I used to drive to the water on don't exist. They're just white sand. And so it's limited my access to the river. And I've got a few places I can get down there, but the water's just been too high. If it ever goes down, I plan on doing a catfish catch and cook, more reloading and barbecue videos. Barbecue vids will definitely be in the future. I just don't know what I'm going to do for a reloading video. Honest to goodness. I think my reloading videos are so uninformative and boring. I don't know why anybody would want to watch them. My early reloading videos, I mean, they've got a lot of views, I guess. But I don't guess I'm really doing any load testing. I'm not trying to develop anything. I don't have any new guns. My reloading just kind of been boring right now. I'm just reloading what I shoot, and I'm not shooting a whole lot. Mainly what I'm shooting is 22, and I'm just not doing much with that. But barbecue videos, definitely plan to do some more of them. Richard, thanks for coming by. Wheel of Wonder going. Noodling in some African countries where they put their leg down in a hole and catch a large snake. Yeah, not doing it. Hey, Dutch, thanks for coming by. Keeping it Dutch. I'm about to come up and see your pastor. I got to have a little procedure done on my heart next week. And after I get that over with, I'm going to make a trip up to see Brother Derek. One-eyed hippies here. Good to see you, Kevin. Fry something, preacher. Well, I fried yellow zucchini, and that was really good. You have a coyote lurking behind you. I know it. Best dog I ever had. Doesn't bark, doesn't bite, doesn't eat too much, doesn't shed. I never have to let him out. Everybody ought to have a dog like mine for an inside dog. He's on vacation. He's always on vacation. No, I'm going to be tied up for a while, but I do plan to get up and see him sometime early July. We've talked about trying to get together. I saw you got a new Dutch oven. I did get a new Dutch oven. I'm going to start trying to do Cast Iron Wednesday videos. I watch a lot of the Cast Iron Wednesday videos, and so on Wednesdays, I'm going to try to upload a cast iron video. And I wanted to get out and I wanted to build a fire in the yard. I got a bunch of oak limbs I need to burn, and I wanted to cook on the Dutch oven over a fire. And I couldn't pull it off earlier in the week. We got a ton of rain Monday, and I just never got it to get together this week. So be doing that soon. Let's see who else has showed up. MCK, thanks for coming out. Lakeview Outdoors, good to see you. Coyotes can end up on you, yes, and they prefer to come in downwind. Pray all goes well with your procedure. I came in and reload and stayed for the rest. Thanks, Dutch. I appreciate you. He came in and reload and stayed for the rest. A boring reloading video is better than most of the garbage on YouTube. You might be right, Buick Special. I just don't really know. There's so many good reloaders out there. I'm an average reloader. I can make accurate ammunition, but I'm not innovative. I'm not knowledgeable. I don't. Here's what would make my reloading videos a lot more. Here's what would make me do more reloading videos. If I got a bench on my deck where I could shoot off a bench. My problem is the range I have in my backyard is basically just a fun range. I don't have a good rest to sit down and shoot groups. So if I'm going to reload and go shoot for groups and try to determine which loads are the most accurate, that means I need to load everything in the truck, drive out to the driveway, and shoot down to the berm by the pond. And I need to get a bench built on the corner of my back deck, and then I could shoot off sandbags, and I would probably do more reloading videos that way. But with the garden going the way it is and church going the way it is, I've just been busy, and I haven't had time. Hey, Thor's Axe, thanks for coming out. Fry catfish in a Dutch oven and on cast iron Wednesday. That's a good idea, Ronnie. Bill Clinton sauce is just wrong. Yes, it is. Anything is better than my rest. I was a little worried that your little bar stool wasn't going to hold me, Jim, but it's sturdier than it looks. Will, that's what I tend to do. I tend to find a good load and a good bullet that I like, and I just don't change anything. I mean, I've been shooting the same loads for a long, long time in my 243, and I just don't tinker with it until it's no longer accurate. That's what I'm going to do. Wayne's been posting bullfrog, shrimp, or squid. Frog legs, all I got access to up here. Have you ever tried deer hunting with the 22-250? No, I haven't. And it's just, I don't want to be sitting out there with a 22-250 when Swamp Donkey's daddy walks out. And here I am with a 55 grain bullet. I want to be out there with a 100 grain bullet, you know? And so I'm not saying I may not end up someday, you know, trying to shoot a doe or something with a 22-250, maybe on the early doe hunt or a late season hunt, I may carry it. But generally when the rut's going on and I got buck tags, I want the gun that I'm most comfortable with and have the most confidence with. And for the last 12 or 15 years, maybe more, that's been my 243 with 32.1 grains of IMR 3031 and 100 grain spear, soft point boat tail. All right. You know, I'll tell you a reloading story. A lady that I did some work for, actually, back when I used to do pools, I sold her a hot tub. She had an old hot tub, and I replaced it with a new one, and then I would go by and service it twice a year. And her husband was I guess, a really big-time reloader. I mean, he was into competitive shooting. She had a couple of Dillon presses. She had a whole bunch of the sets. I don't know what they're called that go on Dillon. he had passed away, and she didn't know what any of this stuff was worth. And a guy in church, Bob, that got me into reloading, I sent him up there, and he's like, "You ought to get into reloading. You ought to start doing this." I'm like, "I don't even know what all that stuff is." There was so much of it. It was intimidating. I mean, it was like I was looking at a machine shop. That's how much stuff was there. Just, I mean, it was full out everything you would want to reload. I'm talking brass, primers, powders, bullets, and the stuff that he shot a lot of, there was tons of it. And we ended up, I didn't get any of that. And so what ended up happening was he sold it out for her online, and she gave him a percentage and kind of helped her get rid of it. And he got it sold to different places, took some to gun shows. When all that got sold, he gave me a single stage press that he had, and I started reloading. And then I got hooked. And I'm like, I can't believe I let all those Dillon presses get away from me. RCBS single stage press, he had them set up for pistol shooting. He had a complete everything, fully automated for 38, fully automated for this, fully automated for, it was all there. And I could have got it for, a great price. I let it all go. Instead, I started out this way, which is probably better. I needed to start on a single stage press. And, but I did let a really good deal get away from me. I grew up shooting a 30-06, and I bought a 243 for coyotes. I was really confident with it. It was really accurate. And I decided I was just going to go shoot a deer with it to see what it would do. And the first deer I shot with it dropped. And I traded. That was a Remington 700 243. I shot that deer in a 4-wheeler trail. There was a doe, and I just stepped out in the stand. I had the gun there in the stand, and it was real thick. And I just shot where I would normally shoot in the shoulder, and that big doe just fell over. And I thought, man, with my 243, she would have jumped and ran into the woods, and I would have been dragging her out of that pine thicket, So I sold that 243. I got a 222. Anyways, long story short, I got another 243. I got real confident with it, and I decided to take it deer hunting again. The next deer I shot with the 243, dropped it. I just dropped about 4 deer in a row, and I wasn't shooting them in the neck or the back. I was just shooting them in the shoulder, and they were dropping. And so after that, I just kind of started shooting a 243. And after I started reloading, I decided to get the .6 back out, and I reloaded some 150 grain spear bullets in my .6 with 30-31 powder again. And it was very accurate load. I went and shot 2 8-points with that rifle that year. And then I put the .6 back in the gun safe and went back to the 243. Can't beat spear bullets with IMR 30-31. I agree. I shot that. I shoot 30-31. I've got loads for that in 223, 243, and 30-06. Seems like there's something else in there I'm missing. It's just a great powder. It's a very versatile powder. If you're shooting smaller, mid to small size centerfire cartridges, I really like it. We enjoy the channel because of the variety. Found you because of Johnny's Reload a year or two. Thanks, Todd. I guess that's why people either love me or hate me. A lot of people, they want more of this. If you're not going to do this, we're not watching. But the name of the channel is Preacher's Day Off, so it's whatever I'm doing that day. I agree on the spear hot core bullets. Use a rock crusher. Yep, Will, I agree. So yes, Ronnie, 7mm 08 is pretty close to a 243. It's just instead of a 6mm, it's a 7mm, a little bit bigger bullet. I took an old brass, 1/4 to 1/2 box out of the range. Yeah, you do end up collecting a lot of stuff over the years. And I could have bought the guy's entire setup for pennies on the dollar, and I wish I would have. I've kicked myself 100 times for not doing it, but it is what it is. Um, don't buy Vortex scopes. You will be using that warranty because over half of them break. I own a couple of them, Will, and I haven't had trouble out of either one. So that means somebody owns two, and both of them have been bad. I don't know. I was a loophole junkie for a long time. Loophole's what I shot, and I think they just priced themselves out of the lower end market. I used to shoot a Very X3, then I went to Very X2, then I bought a Very X1, and then I started buying Vortex. I even bought a Nikon, and of course, I don't think they make a Nikon anymore. But I wasn't real impressed with the Nikon. But I haven't had any trouble out of the two Vortex I've had. But I've heard bad things about them. I just haven't experienced it yet. All right, let me tell y'all a little bit about what's going on with me. We got a little lull. If you got a question, put it down there. I'll get to it. Some of you may know back last October, I had a procedure done on my heart called ablation. And what they do is, well, I'll tell you why. I've had AFib. I was diagnosed with having AFib in my heart. And AFib is where you have a part of your heart that's trying to beat when it should be taking in blood. It's trying to contract. And so your heart, instead of being a two-chambered pump like this, it's squeezing at the same time. And so blood's not flowing. And anyways, I went to the doctor because I had some real high blood pressure, and he put me on some blood pressure medicine. He said, "Hey, look, you lose some weight, you start exercising, you cut out all your stimulants, you get rid of caffeine, you get rid of nicotine, you make all these healthy changes, you won't even have to take blood pressure medicine." I said, "Hey, I don't want to take medicine." We're talking like 3 or 4 years ago. So I quit dipping stuff. I quit drinking coffee. I quit eating salt. I quit eating fat. I started walking 2.5 miles a day. And I went on a strict diet, eating like 1,300 calories a day. I did that for 3 days. I thought I was having a heart attack. I wasn't having a heart attack. I was having AFib. And that's where the heart's not trying. You got one too many bosses in the heart. Instead of left, right, you've got this third boss trying to beat whenever he wants. That's the country boy explanation of arterial fibrillation. So the way most doctors want to fix that is they want to give you 2 pills. They want to give you a blood thinner, because the danger in AFib is that your heart not beating, blood doesn't flow in the bottom of your heart. And when blood don't flow, it clots. And so the danger of AFib is that you get a clot. When the clot comes out of your heart, if it goes to your brain, that's a stroke. If it goes to your lungs, that'll like kill you. I don't remember what that's called. So they put you on a blood thinner so that your blood don't clot if you go into AFib. And then they put you on a beta blocker, which basically slows your heart down to a slower rhythm so that it keeps it from ramping up and getting in that AFib range. So that's what they did. Well, when they put me on a beta blocker, that slows your heart down. It slows your whole metabolism down. So I dipped snuff for Copenhagen Skull, chewed tobacco. I did that for 20 years or more. Well, more than that, probably. I did that for years. And so I quit that cold turkey, and I never went back to it. And but my body was used to running on nicotine. I took the nicotine away, and I went back to drinking coffee and eating salt and all that. But I still tried to lose weight, and I still tried to exercise, and I just gained weight and gained weight and gained weight. It didn't matter what I did. I gained weight. And so I said, look, I heard that there was a procedure called ablation where they go up inside your heart, and where that little spot's trying to beat in the wrong time, they burn a little circle around that. When they burn a circle around it, it can make all the little electrical signals it wants, but it doesn't reach anywhere else on the heart. So it does away with your AFib. And they said, yeah, you're not a candidate for that. We're controlling it with beta blockers and blood thinners. And they weren't. I kept telling them that I still think I'm having AFib. No, you're not. You're just experiencing preventricular contractions, PVCs, and those are not dangerous. You don't have a problem. So for about 2.5 years, I went to the doctor every 6 months, got an EKG, reading of my heart. They told me to lose weight and start exercising. I said, guys, I'm doing that, but I'm tired. I sleep all the time. I feel awful. Uh, I want off the beta blockers. Well, no, you're not a candidate for that. The beta blockers are doing their job. Well, I went in and I was going into the cardiologist, and I was going to tell him, look, I'm never coming back. This is a waste of my time. You guys aren't listening to me. Well, when I sat down for that little 10-second reading of your heart, I was in AFib. And the nurse comes in and she's like, Mr. Smith, are you okay? Do you feel okay? And I'm like, yeah, my heart's just jacked up. And so they went in and they said, hey, look, what you need, you're now a candidate for ablation. You need to go get just part of your heart cauterized. I said, okay, great. So they didn't do that at that hospital, which is one of the big reasons why they didn't want to send me off to do it. So they sent me to another hospital in the area. With the only guy in town that does it, he's over there. He's really good. So go over there to him, and he said, hey, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go in both sides of your groin. We're going to go up inside your heart. We're going to burn a little circle around this. If we overdo it, we'll burn a hole in your heart, and then we'll have to get the blood off your chest. If we don't do it a good enough job, it won't fix it. So he said, the success rate's 80% on the first try. If we don't get it on the first try, we'll do it again. The success rate on the second try is 95%. I said, okay. So we did this in October. I met with him in November. I said, man, my heart's still messed up. He said, that's normal. See you in 3 months. That 3-month appointment got canceled. I got a phone call. Why didn't you come in 3 months? Y'all canceled the appointment. Oh, yeah, we did. Come in the next 2 months. Okay, so I go back and see him in April. And I tell him, hey, look, my heart's still messed up. I still think I have AFib. And he's like, no, you're fine. You're feeling something else. You're fine. And I said, well, how do I know if I'm feeling something that's not going to kill me or I'm feeling something that's going to kill me? Because I'm still on the beta blockers and I'm still on the blood thinners and I still feel like crap. And he said, oh, you can quit taking the beta blockers and the blood thinners. He said, I'll get you a monitor and you wear it for 7 days, and then we'll know for sure if you got rid of it or you still got it. Come back and see me in 6 weeks. So I wear a monitor for 7 days. I come back in 6 weeks. That's last Wednesday, a week ago today. I saw him last Wednesday. I had started working out and exercising and really, trying to be good. And my heart felt like it was some better. I wasn't having as many episodes, but I was also off the beta blockers, which slowed me down. So, man, I felt good for a while. And I wasn't on the blood thinner, so I wasn't bruising all the time. And so I was like, man, it's all right. And I'm doing better. And so when I sat down, I was prepared to get hey, we got your chart here. Nothing happened. Instead, he said, you still got AFib, and we need to do the procedure again. I'm like, okay. And so I was kind of shocked. And here's the other thing. This is the only guy in the area that does this procedure. And he's leaving for Kansas City at the end of the month. So he said, I knew you needed this done, and I reserved you a spot for next week. And so that's this coming week. So I went from thinking I was over all this and everything was fine to now I need to go have this done a second time. And so I've been trying for the last week to try to get ahead on things, because when they do that, they keep you overnight in the hospital, but then they tell you it's about 5 days of not doing anything because you've got incisions in your groin. You don't want them to start bleeding again. So anyways, I'm going to have that done again next week. And I hope I'm in the 95 percentile this time and it fixes my problem. Because if it doesn't, I'll have to stay on the blood thinners and the beta blockers from now on. And man, I just don't want to live my life on those kind of drugs from now on. So really, really hoping that the procedure works this time around. And this guy that's doing it, he's really one of the best in the country. Everybody seems to think that that's why he's leaving here and going to a bigger hospital. All right, that's enough of me. I just wanted y'all to know if you don't see much of me next week, it's because all that's going on. Had a friend put a stent in his brain. Oh, hey, Hootie Hoo, thanks for coming by. Trying to catch up on the side over here. Remember, if you've got questions, now's the time. We're trying to do an hour. We got about 20 minutes left. Gave her 4 more years. Wow. Well, that's a great story. Wayne, I don't know why. I don't know if you're retracting your message or something's kicking them out, but I've noticed you've had message retracted. And if I just haven't got to it yet, I'll get to it. I have 3 stents in my heart for years of stress. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. My biggest problem is just I'll tell you, the reason I started my channel was because I worked all the time. I was a pastor for 5 days a week, and I worked on the side as a pool guy, cleaning swimming pools and servicing pools 2 days a week, sometimes 1 day a week. And I was trying to scale back. And what ended up happening was I just worked all the time. I didn't, I was always had stuff going, and I knew I needed to take a day of rest. And so that's why I started the channel, just so when I took my day off, a day of rest, I didn't want it to be a day of just sitting on the couch. I do enough of that as a preacher, not sitting on the couch, but I sit on and talk on the phone. I sit and read. I sit and stare at a computer screen. I sit and counsel people. I go out and eat with people. That's pretty much what preachers do. And anyways, I say all that to say it's just a sedentary lifestyle is my problem. And so I know I've got to take better care of myself. The problem was I tried to do all that, I think, at the wrong time, and that sent me into this AFib. And so I'm hoping that if I can get the AFib fixed and get off all the other stuff, I can get back in shape. I can lose weight. It's just when you put me on meds that slow my whole body down, I can't lose weight. My metabolism is a metabolism of a snail. And thank you, Ronnie. And yeah, God's in control. Hey, look, folks, if I don't make it next week, no worries here. My only concern is to take care of my wife and kids. That's it. But if I don't make it next week, I know where I'm going. I know I have no concern about dying other than I want my wife and kids to be taken care of. And my children are grown. I mean, one graduated college, one's finished his first year of college. My wife's in pretty good shape. Financially, we've got most of our, we've got everything paid off but a couple of cars. And so my only concern is, look, if the worst case scenario happens and I die, I'm a Christian. The Lord is going to take care of me. So I don't want this to be a downer. I appreciate you guys' prayers. I hope this does work. I pray it works. But if it don't work and I die, that's okay. If it don't work and I got to take drugs the rest of my life, that's the Lord's will for me. That's fine. I'm not the kind of guy that believes if you're a Christian, you're healed, or you can be healed or should be healed. I hate to get all theological and preachy on you, but let's just be honest here. The Apostle Paul had bad eyesight. He had a thorn in the flesh. All the Lord's people had problems. None of them were healed. All of them had issues. And, I'm hoping for the best. I'd like to get healthier. I'd like to get my heart fixed. But if that's just not what the Lord wants for me, then I'll accept it as his wishes. But I appreciate you guys praying for a quick recovery. And I appreciate it. It means a lot. Vanilla Gorilla, thanks for having a clean channel. You're welcome. My pleasure. Just what I am. Hootie hoo, you don't need to lose weight. You're about 4 inches too tall already. And Corona has been hard on me. Yeah, I've been hard on me too. I've lost some weight, and it just when you're as big as I am, you can lose 20. You can lose 20 pounds and nobody really knows it. And the main thing for me is for the last 6 weeks, well, 7 now, I haven't been on the beta blockers, and man, I feel so much better. I just have a desire to get up and do stuff. Whereas being on those drugs, man, it's just it's not really like it's not really like a depressant. It's just it's exhausting. Everything is just tiring, and I don't know anything about it. I lost 20. Who do you? Good for you. I appreciate. I'm glad you did. Yeah. I'm glad they got that. I'm glad they figured that out, Wayne. Faith in the Lord. Yeah, everything's possible, but not everything um, is in the cards. I mean, it's appointed for us once to die. We're not going to live forever. You know, we're going to have a life of struggle in this world. You shall have tribulation. You shall have struggle. So I'm going to have that. You know, you go back and you go all the way back and you look at Jacob and his hip joint pulled out. He walked with a limp. Moses and his speech impediment. You know, he was a man that didn't have good speech, and everybody has their ailments. 6'6", 270 is the same height as 185. Hootie hoo. I'm 270, and you've got almost a foot on me. I've got a real issue. I mean, we all could lose some weight. Hey, I weighed 185 and had a 6-pack. I've always been thick. I've always had big arms, big legs, and a big neck. My only problem is my big gut outshines them all right now. But if this works and I can get off this, I really, really think, you know, I'll be a lot better in the future. I'm 45, and getting off the snuff was a big deal for me. That wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. I really thought I was going to have a hard time getting off Copenhagen, because I mean, I was close to a can a day guy there for a while. I would cut back, and I would even quit for a week or so just to say that I could. But just making the decision to completely quit snuff, tobacco, I remember one time I quit dipping, started smoking, then I got out of breath. I thought, I ain't gonna do that. I'd rather just go back to dipping. But getting off of it all completely was probably the best thing I've done for my health. That's been gosh, I don't know, at least 3. That's probably been 4 years ago, maybe 5. I don't know. I have to go back and look at my medical records. But anyways, if I get down to 220, I don't really look all that fat. I'm 5'8", but I carry it so well through my shoulders and my arms and legs. I don't look real fat at 220. When I was in the Air Force, for my height and my age at 18, 173 pounds was my max. I weighed that the day I got out of basic training, because I thought if I was overweight, I wasn't going to graduate. And after that, they always had to tape me. But after they tape your neck and your arms and your gut and your legs and your waist, they run that through some kind of government calculator. Always come out okay when they tape me. I just never would make the weight. But I'd like to get back down to about 220 and go from there. MCK, different scope. Get her sighted in, man. 5'11" and 240. Like to get back to 205. That's a realistic goal. Really, I need to lose about 50 or 60 pounds. I need to lose more than that to be within the range. But at 50 or 60 pounds, off, I would be back in I could still fight heavyweight. I don't want to have to fight light heavyweight. I'd have to fight Johnny Bones Jones. Well, you're perfect weight for an 8-foot person. I was doing 2 cans a day when I quit. Good for you, man. I never got up to 2 cans a day. Maybe I just didn't have enough room in my cheeks to get that big of a dip, but I did pretty much kill a can a day most of my life. Quit smoking cold turkey. Health insurance 20% more expensive for smokers. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the health insurance now is making people quit or pay to keep going. Yeah, Ronnie. You're built just about like me. I'm a little bigger than that right now, and I would like to be. I'd like I said, I'd like to be down around 220. If I stood up real straight, I might make 5'9", but usually I'm 5'8". The Thigh Master is out. Yes, it is. Lance, I wish you all the best, man. It's tough. You just got to power through it. The key to it is never justify having just one. I'll tell you one time I quit dipping. This is a funny story. I was driving down the road. I thought I had mouth cancer. You know how you get to running your tongue around, you feel something in your mouth? And I was like, man, I got a knot in my mouth. For about 2 or 3 days, I could feel this knot. I thought I had mouth cancer. I said, I'm not gonna get mouth cancer. I was fixed to get a dip. I put the lid on it. I rolled my window down. There was a big old sign said the bridge may ice when cold weather. And I tried to hit that sign with the snuff and I missed. About 3 days went by. I was driving home. I was like, man, I really wish I had a dip. Not a whole can. I just want one dip. I pulled over on the side of the road. I got out. I walked around the ditch around that bridge may ice over when cold. I walked around and sure enough, I could see that silver Copenhagen lid standing up. I went over and I got that can of Copenhagen. I mean, I got a dip in there. It looked like, it was a chaw. I got a big old dip. I put the lid and I threw it on off down towards the bridge in the creek so I wouldn't be tempted to go back and get any more. And then the next day I bought a can. I was right back to square one. But when I decided I was going to quit, I just quit cold turkey, and I prayed and asked God to help me quit. And I said, I don't want to take another dip ever. Times past like, well, I just want to dip at deer camp. Every year at deer camp, I'd start dipping again. So I don't ever want to take another dip. And I think that's the key, Lance. It's just, I'm not going to take another smoke. I don't want to puff. I quit. And that was the way I broke it. And to be honest with you, you got to get to where you hate it. I hate it. I don't want any more of it. Stuff's killing me. Makes me look bad. I mean, how many preachers going around dipping snuff? I got to knock this stuff. Nothing's going to have control over me. That's the thing you got to say. I have a blockage. Have to go see the doctor next week. I've been on meds for it. I'm like you. I'm tired all the time. Like you say, God has a plan for us. His will be done. That's right, Dan. I mean, I pray you get it. You get fixed up and you get off the meds. You live streaming during the NASCAR race just did it. And I'm sorry, Hadaway. I didn't even know there was a NASCAR race on Wednesday. I showed you how out of the loop I am. John Jones is a whiner. Yeah, he is, Uncle Jim. And as a matter of fact, I don't even care for the guy. But I'd rather fight heavyweight than face 6'6". Yeah. Having a great night. Good. Thanks for coming by. Yes, you're right, Will. Jay Peterman, thanks for coming by. Man, we're getting down to the end of the live stream. We've been going for about 55 minutes. Any of you guys got a question before I get off here? Smart remark? You got about 5 minutes to get it out, and I'll try to do my best to get it answered before we wrap it up. Let's see here. I did the same with smokes, asking him to take my desires away. Done 12 years now. I think Phil Robertson dips. He does dip. Actually, I've dipped snuff with Phil Robertson. We've sat out on the front steps of the Civic Center over here and dipped snuff back in the day. That was back before Phil was popular. He came up here for an outdoor show, and we already knew who he was. This is back in the early 90s, and went over there and saw him. And I mean, nobody knew who he was. He was selling duck calls and talked to him. And I mean, he's just a great guy. He always has been. He's real. And look, you know, you're not going to hell because you dip snuff. It's just, it looks bad to be in my occupation, driving around with a spit bottle in your truck and a cowboy pinstripe out your window. Quit cold turkey when I was going to be a father. I like Taylor's Pride, but try to stay away too. Yeah, you know, one time I was going to buy a package of just chewing tobacco, and I didn't know this, but somehow the tax laws in Arkansas, chewing tobacco was like $9 for a pack of Red Man. And I said, all right, I'll have a pack of Levi Garrett. It was like $10. I said, man, a can of snuff's $5. It used to be the other way around. You used to pay like $1 and a dime for a can of dip. You pay like 85 cents for a pack of chew. But I don't know, something about the way it's cut or something. It's like ridiculous high now. So, and plus, I started thinking about all the money I spent dipping snuff. I mean, you know, I paid a lot of money to destroy my life. So it was a good thing for me to get done with that. And some of y'all still on it. That's fine. I don't judge you for dipping snuff. I've done it most of my life. Good night, bottom wheel. Lord's be done. Thanks, CW. Come back and see us when you can. Thanks, Southern Food Junkie, for coming by. Ronnie, I really appreciate you. Thank you. I think it's Mr. Smell 269. I watch Phil's videos on Blaze TV. I like Phil Robertson. He's a good, honest man. I've been a big fan of Phil Robertson for years. My only complaint with all the Robertson clan is their Church of Christ, and they believe that baptism is part of your salvation. They may just flat out deny that, but what they preach in their theology is emphasizes baptism more than I probably would, and I'm a Baptist. But anyways, disagreement. I still think that the Robertson boys, by and large, are good Christian men. I think they're a good Christian influence on the country, and I don't have any complaints. We'll ask God to help me do things. Yes, it was Paul. He struggled in the flesh. Sure did. We all do. And it wasn't but one perfect man. And he died for my sins, and I'm trusting him to secure my connections in heaven. Best of luck to you, preacher. Thanks, Bolt Action Reloading. What a great name for a channel. Bolt Action Reloading. Yes, brothers in Christ. Best of luck to you. Cowboy Pinstripe. That's what it is. Spit out the window. I had a buddy in high school. He drove a little Chevy Love, and the bottom of it was rusted out, and the floorboard had mats in there. We'd get to dipping stuff going down the road. We'd scoot the floor mat over, and the rusted out hole would spit. And if you cracked your window, the air would suck out that hole. And you could just spit in the floorboard, and if you got close to that hole, the wind would suck it right out the bottom. That was the neatest thing till you got water up in the floorboard when you went through something deep. But that little Chevy Love, that was cowboy custom right there. Spit hole in the bottom of the floorboard. Yeah, thanks for coming by, Dave. I appreciate the thoughts and prayers. Like I said, guys, win, lose, or draw next week, I'm going to be all right. I want to get back up on my feet quick if I'm going to be here. And I'm just hoping it fixes my problem. If it doesn't, then I'll accept that's what is what it is. But it's 10 o'clock my time. You East Coast guys is 11 o'clock. Y'all probably need to get in bed. If you got anything you want to say, now's the time to say it. What's the bartender says? Last call. What is it that the evangelist says? One more verse. Yeah, basically that. I raised tobacco in Wisconsin after working with the stuff 15, 20 years. Yeah, it's dangerous. It really is. And hey, man, I used every form of tobacco you could get. I smoked a pipe. I smoked cigarettes. I used powdered snuff, loose leaf snuff, chewing tobacco. I mean, I loved it all. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Six Shooter, for coming by. Thanks, Hobby Channel. All right. It's been a good chat. Thanks, Georgia boy. I thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to try to do these. I'd like to do them about once a month. That give you an opportunity to ask me questions, give me an opportunity just to tell you some stories. And the main thing I like about YouTube is the interaction. I try to respond to every comment. YouTube doesn't notify me of every comment. YouTube sometimes does away with comments, doesn't allow me to comment on comments. But what I enjoy about this platform is people like Anthony Hadaway there. Alabama deer and turkey hunter. Never met the guy in person. Watch every video he makes. Get to interact with him. That's what I love about YouTube. I've been to Georgia. I've met with Georgia Boy 44. I've been to Utah. I've met Uncle Jim. Those relationships wouldn't exist without YouTube, and I enjoy it for that. So I enjoy the live chats just because I can interact with you and you can interact with me. I hate watching them the next day. You have all this dead time when a guy's just sitting there reading the side chat. But for those of us that are here, this is good. I really do enjoy it. And the main thing, I want to give you guys an opportunity to communicate with me instead of you just watching me cook squash or reload ammo or whatever. I didn't really discuss anything in the world. I just talked about shooting a white coyote turd and leaving a white puff of dust in the air. You'll have to watch the first few minutes, Hadaway. You'd enjoy it. Thanks, Rollis. I appreciate it. I know, Hadaway. I know. Let me ask you this before I get off here. If you're still on there, Hadaway, did YouTube turn your comments off, or did you do it just to avoid getting the strikes? And I'll talk for another minute or two to give you time to answer that if you're still here. But I hate that. And that's one of the things that I've noticed about my channel is if I do a bunch of gun videos, it's like my overall channel goes down. They disabled them. You can re-able them. Okay. That's what I wanted to know. If I do a few gun videos in a row, it's like my whole channel gets brought down. My overall views go down. Even though I may have, say I'm getting 200 views, this average 250, 300 views a video. I do a hunting video, I may get 500 views instantly, but the rest of the channel goes down. And I can't do them. Okay. They're gone until they say otherwise. Wow. Man, that's one thing I got to say about Trump. He's trying to cut down on the censorship on social media, whether it be Twitter. Twitter's where he does most of his work, but Facebook's just as bad. YouTube's just as bad. And it's not just what am I trying to say here? it's not just conservatives that get censored. It's outdoorsmen that get censored. It's gun guys that get censored. It's anybody they don't like. And I understand they own the platform. I get all that. But at the same time, um, it is a social side. It is much like what Trump said. It is like a phone company and a utility company. Wow, Dan, that's crazy. They said it was because my kids were in the videos. I appealed, citing I'm a cop and I doesn't need oversight. They still shot me down. Wow. Because your girls are in it, your little boy. Wow. I wondered why that was. Man, I hate that. And that whole thing right there is because of what the state of New York did. And the only way it could be enforced YouTube wide was to do it worldwide. This made for kids, by kids. And see, why is it they shut yours down, but Daniel Arms can have, his boy on there all the time, Houston. I mean, that kid that's half his channel. People tune in just to watch what Houston's doing. It's so biased, and I really wish we could get to a point where that's not there. But as long as we have Democrats in power, they want to control the media. They want to control where we get our news. They want to control where we get our entertainment. I hate to get all political on you here at the end, but there probably ain't no liberals made it this far in my broadcast anyways. They want to control these things because they want to influence us. They want to tell us what stories matter. They want to tell us what stories, to pay attention to, what stories to dismiss. And when you open up, say, a Facebook and a YouTube and a Twitter and some of these other platforms, Instagram, and you allow these things just to go out, then we can get our news source from each other and from our own ways, and that breaks the monopoly that they've had. And so, yeah, exactly. 12-year-old pole dancer Desmond is amazing can have comments. 12-year-old boy dressed up like a girl. It's unbelievable. I know it's politically driven. And I know Trump's taken some steps just recently to try to bust up some of this. And then, it instantly gets challenged in the Ninth Circuit, the liberal court. But I really think he's on the right track. I think if he has some more time, we can see some of this stuff busted up. But anyways, gosh, guys, I went 8 minutes over. It's 10:08. I need to get to the house. You guys need to get in bed. Y'all got to work tomorrow. And tomorrow's Thursday. I don't know anybody that's off on Thursdays. Hey, Shot Dog. Sorry you just got here, man. We're just wrapping it up. Anyways, I'll try to get a video or two out between now and next week. And then once I have the procedure done on my heart, I'll just be down for a while. And I probably won't feel like doing nothing. I won't be able to get out and do much. They want me to take it easy for about 5 days. So you don't see me for a week. That's where I'm at. I sure get mad, man. I would too, Hadaway. Take care, man. Hey, Philip, thanks for showing up. Sorry, we've gone about 8 minutes over and I've been on a political rant. So I got to wind this thing down. Thank you guys for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. Really do appreciate your friendship. And One-Eyed Hippie, whenever you want to go frog gigging, call me. Just give me those 5 days to recover next week. And they're biting. Hell, I know they're biting. You're always catching them, Philip. Hey guys, I gotta run. We gotta pick some time to end, and we're about 10 minutes late. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Y'all thumbs up before you leave. Yeah, I guess 15 thumbs up. Wow. Let me see if I can remember how to turn this thing off. I forgot. All big red letter right under my smiling mug. See you guys on the next one.